cuffs are off, man.
Hey everybody, Adam Rank here.
What's up, friends? Daniel Dopp here from the Fantasy Focused Football Podcast over on ESPN.
It's Fabs here, Michael Fabiano from Sports Illustrated.
You know who you can trust if you've got some questions about your fantasy squad?
Want to check out a cool show on YouTube that'll help you get ready for the fantasy football season?
Check out the Get Right Fantasy Network.
Check out the Get Right Fantasy Network. If you are not subscribed, what are you waiting for? You want to lose your league?
Head on over to YouTube. Check out the Get Right Fantasy Network because they're doing everything they can to make you a better fantasy player.
You got to get right with the Get Right Fantasy Network.
So go and roll your sleeves up. Yeah, go and roll your sleeves up. And I'm getting down cause I roll my sleeves up. And I'm getting right cause I roll my sleeves up. And I'm getting down cause I roll my sleeves up. And I'm getting right cause I get.
What up, world? This is FishnFrank here with Get Right Fantasy Network coming at you again with another Week 9 Monday night overreaction waiver wire show. I'm being here co-hosted here with Kendall tonight. How we doing tonight, Kendall?
Hey, we're doing good, man. We're doing good. It was a good week, near sweep for my Dynasty boys. It was good in the streets. We had a profitable week,
nice.
And yeah, it was all right. Bad news for my Bears, but it's all right. We're gonna see some better days. It's gonna be okay.
I had a near sweep myself, except for our Dynasty league, man. I totally just forgot to take out my QB Lamar Jackson and put somebody else in his place, which I could have, and I would have won the game. I was looking at it right now, and I was just like, oh, man, all I had to do was just replace him. Sam Darnold would have been my backup here, so but that's all right. I won some of the major games that I wanted, a couple of games, one game against Anthony, so it was important there. So yeah, we had a really good, decent week here. Blowout game tonight here with the Washington Commanders against the KC. The Chiefs. The Chiefs. Putting it to them. I think it was 28-7 the last score at the end, I think.
Yeah, they got the 28 at the end there.
Yeah, it was crazy.
Right.
Not much going on in that game.
Yeah, as soon as they got the 20, man, that game was over.
Yeah. I mean, it was over before it even started, honestly. They had a backup quarterback in and whatnot. Not the same story as last year, but their defense is still doing good. So, yeah, I just want to kind of go over what we got going on tonight. Just give you a quick rundown. Obviously, we're going over some waiver wire ads. We're going to go over some news, injuries, and just kind of recap some things there. Go get some takes here as to what happened over the weekend. Give our top waiver wire ads and do some live Q&A at the end of the show here. Just to kind of give you guys a heads up here, what we got going on during the week here. Put up the banner here. Give me a second. So, Tuesday nights, we got Phil with the extra point here. Kendall joins him as well on that day. We also got Wednesday night. We got the roster management buy, sell, trade show. And then Fridays, we got the, sit, start Q&A. Sunday morning, Mike holds it down doing the active, inactives. And then we're here Monday nights doing the waiver wire ads and overreaction here. So, yeah, that's the quick rundown here that we got going on here. Get Right Fantasy. As always, we have super chats here. So if you guys are so inclined to, help out the channel, we don't get paid here too much. So if you guys feel like you need to help us out, and we'll take extra time with your questions and answer anything that you got going on. I missed one last Monday night when somebody was on here commenting. So I do feel bad. Please get on here. And if you're on, I forgot his name. I'll definitely take more time to kind of go over what you guys got going on.
You got two of us.
Gator J saying, what up, Frank? I'm sorry, say it again.
Two of us, man. Twice the answers. They're getting
right?
double what
Twice
they paid for today.
Exactly.
It's gonna be fantastic.
Say 30% max. I like it.
30%.
Ice Cold got another question coming here. We're gonna get you on that one in a second. As soon as we get into those waiver wire ones, we're gonna be starting to talk to you real quick here. Really quick, we got basically week 9 buys are Browns, Jets, Eagles, and Buccaneers. So we got 4 teams on a bye. A Thursday night matchup is coming up is Ravens at Dolphins. Baltimore's under 7.5 point favorite with an over under 50 points and a half. it should be a decent game now. The Dolphins are firing up, getting more on all cylinders. Let's see if Lamar Jackson's back for the Ravens. Henry started getting back into his good graces again, got 2 touchdowns this last game. So that should be a decent Thursday night game. And they've had been all season long, which is surprisingly, because last year and the years in the past, they've been just some terrible matchups that have been happening. And so now that we're getting some way better thoughts into these matchups. So I'm really liking the Thursday night games. I hate the double Monday nights, though. I've been mentioning that all week. Get rid of this double header Monday nights. So you got some news here. You got some overreaction. What do we got here, Kendall?
So on some overreactions today. All right. Okay. Let's start with my good guy, Justin Fields. So clearly back, starting quarterback, rest of season, and given the performance that he put up, not so good in the ground. If we're going to overreact to him, Justin Fields, lighten him up as a surefire QB1 rest of season. Probably QB10 or higher. Actually getting in as a starter. I don't know. You in on Fields? You buying that, or you think this is voodoo?
He benched. He did save himself by having a good performance. He's just one performance away from being benched again. I don't know. I don't know if he's good enough for the rest of the season.
Yeah. I'm more on if you are streaming. I do like him quite a bit. If
you're streaming,
thin bench,
put the shot.
QB 13 through 15 is. I would rather have Flacco. We'll get into the next one. I'd rather have Flacco rest of season for sure. But Flacco back to back with QB 6, QB 7 depends on your scoring, but basically a mid range QB 1 last 2 games. Let's go ahead and overreact. He's doing exactly what Joe Burrow would have done on average. Nearly 300 yards, 3 touchdowns, 300 yards, making his top guys look good. So Flacco, top 6 QB rest of season, at least top 7, 8. And with him doing well and the offense moving the ball, Chase Brown benefits. So I guess that means Chase Brown, RB1 rest of season. I mean, if we're going to overreact, let's just say we got our Burrow back, right? This year Flacco doing his thing again. I'll take this one. I'm buying Flacco. I'm absolutely buying that Flacco is going to average 2.75 touchdowns a game. He knows he's in there to do one job, which is throw the ball to his stars. And he knows that as a veteran, he knows his stars want to get the ball. They just want a shot. He's going to sling it. He's going to let it ride. I think Chase is back to, damn near overall wide receiver 1. So I'm buying Flacco. I'm starting him over a lot of other quarterbacks rest of season. Chase Brown, top 12, too spicy. Top 15, not out of the question. I would probably rank him that. I had him as a near start of the week last week that paid. And I do think Chase Brown, huge buy candidate if you can still get him.
Yeah, I'm right there with you because Chase Brown was just terrible, man. Terrible up until this point. Last 2 games, he's finally saved it. I just thought it was interesting. Samaje Perine getting some looks and touches in there, got a touchdown. And I was like, look at this guy. So just the whole team as a whole are firing on all cylinders basically now. They're looking a lot better. Like you're saying, I'm buying into Chase, Brown, and Jamar Chase here. So, they're just doing a lot better. I mean, a lot better just with Joe Flacco at the helm, right?
You buy in Chase Brown RB1, or do you think not fade him, but hesitant?
I RB2. I'm not going that far.
RB2? Not full spice.
I need to see it a couple more weeks.
5 out of 10. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Breece Hall, the electric RB1 that he is, the Bijan comp, the Bijan before Bijan was in the league.
Yeah.
After he's traded, clear top 3, top 5 RB rest of season, and immediately looks like JT and a new team with more pass catching.
Yeah. I mean, it depends on who he gets traded to, though, too.
Assuming they don't have a completely crap O-line, you can almost assume he's going to a better situation. He passed the eye test in a big way most games this season.
Yeah.
This is probably my biggest. I've overspent on him in Dynasty a little bit. I'm kind of buying. I think Breece Hall, if he's traded to the right situation, I only can't buy it because he could go to a bad situation. There's good and bad landing spots.
Yeah.
Some of the worst landing spots are just okay upgrades.
They're okay. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, but the full spice, no. If he goes to the right landing spot, full spice, I do think he's just immediately Achane or better. Like overnight. So that's at least RB7 or better. So yeah, I'm in. I'll go quick. Waddle, high-end wide receiver 2, rest
real
of
quick,
season.
before you get off subject, just because he threw it up here, Flacco is 50-year-old Burrow, but ironically with a stronger arm.
Yeah, I mean, kind of. I can kind of see that. I mean, Flacco's known. I think he's kind of got like the dad bod sling in the axe. He's definitely he can throw the ball deep, and I think he's willing to. He at this point in time, I think Flacco knows it's just about chucking it and making it work. He's not working on his footwork or his speed or anything. So, and maybe it's not so much the stronger arm. I think Burrow really wants to play the finesse game too, but I think Flacco just doesn't care. He's just going to let it absolutely rip on as many plays as he can.
But there's something to be said when you're on just a short-term contract per se or whatever. He's in the twilight of his career, obviously, right? And so he's good to just chuck it, like you're saying, because he's not worried about next season. He's not worried about carrying the team forward. He knows when Burrow comes back, he Burrow's back and he doesn't have a job anymore. So all he could do is the best he can. Mm-hmm. And Breece Hall there, man. That dude teared it up. I mean, he even threw a touchdown this past weekend. So that was pretty nice.
Yeah, he's so many of those runs he passed the eye test. But we'll if you get him talking about Breece Hall, it's going to be a long show. So, by the way, not buying the Jalen Waddle high-end wide receiver 2 rest of season. I think that offense is broken more often than not, and I don't think they're going to run enough plays on offense for him to be a good enough wide receiver 1 or high-end wide receiver 2. I think he's going to be extremely hit or miss, and they'll have to figure out other options. But Waddle, I'm that's not one I'm going to buy.
I'm right there with you on that one too. I wouldn't buy him. I was already not buying him when his counterpart was still there. Tyreek Hill was still playing. He was, a better player when Tyreek was there. Basically, I think, and I don't think he could take the step forward and be that number 1 wide receiver and just really dominate race. Basically, you know what I mean? I'm right there with you. He's still like a WR3 flex type. That's it. I mean, you're not going to get consistent play out of him.
If I'm going to overreact to anything in that whole situation, the overreaction is that people hate Tua way too much when there's a lot of quarterback. Everyone wanted Geno and the Raiders to be good. And it was oh, Geno's really bad. Right. But then it's JJ McCarthy. People were saying JJ McCarthy was going to be better than Drake May. People drafted him in Dynasty rookie drafts ahead of him. Again, it was just too spicy. It was just everyone overreacting. The overreaction is Tua's not a great quarterback, and I'm not sure if he's a good quarterback. Probably not. I don't think so. But I wouldn't put him in the oh my God, he's trash. It's that's a third of the quarterbacks in the NFL at any given time in any given year are not great. But I would say half of that bottom tier ends up having an okay game half the time, right? It just happens from time to time. I think that offense has no weapons. They're making it work. If anything, I give Tua a little bit of if you gave Tua Geno Smith's weapons, I think he'd be doing a lot better with it, right? So I'm not saying Tua's great, but the overreaction is we overreacted to Tua being trash, bad situation. It's kind of like he's in the Jets. Hey, maybe he's not so bad if he had a better situation. We'll skip the Texans. Who cares? That's a boring take, and we'll get to Chimere Dike in later on in the waivers. Maybe save him for the waivers, but there's some spice there, and I will say I am kind of buying him. I'm huge on the guy that earns snaps from special teams and then just outplays everybody. That's a narrative that coaching staffs can get behind and can quarterback. So I kind of like him.
Those some guys right there. So, the Packers take down Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers was going to be the 5th, I think, quarterback to beat all 32 teams. But unfortunately, the Packers said no on that. It was that great of a game. But Love did throw 360 yards and 3 touchdowns. Tucker Kraft had an amazing day, 2 touchdowns. I mean, he was just killing it on National Tight Ends Day. I do believe he had the best stats for a tight end for the week. And I've traded for that guy, and I'm so happy I did because he's paying off dividends. And I know I did pay. I think I could have got him for cheaper, but the guy I traded for him now is injured, and that happens a lot with many of my trades. Me and Anthony always trade, and it seems like the guy that we trade always seems to be injury prone or out for the season soon after the trade. So I'm not too upset about that. The Jets finally get a win. There. I think you were just talking about Justin Fields here. Surged back against the Bengals defense there. I think they were 15 points down at one point. Good comeback win for them. Like you're saying, is he going to be, a worthy startable quarterback going forward? My jury's still out. I'm not sure if I'm going to buy in that yet. Patriots are still rolling. They got hot streak here with Drake May. He's one of the guys that I was promoting a lot earlier this year. May threw 3 touchdowns here. And the Browns defense is no joke, So Myles Garrett recorded 5 sacks in that game, and it wasn't even enough.
Still wasn't even close.
So they still took the L on that.
Drake May played almost literally a perfect game. By the way, I'm official. I'm ready to be the biggest Drake May fan on the planet. I think if we were to do a dynasty startup right now, I'm ready to take Drake May as a top 4 quarterback, and that's the lowest I'd let him go. Absolutely.
Yeah,
he might be a top 3
all season. I was behind Drake May. He's actually was saving one of my teams. I had Joe Burrow as the starter. I drafted Drake May as the backup, and guess who's starting? Drake May, right? And he's killing it for me. So I'm really happy about that. Texans dominated the 49ers. Just wanted to mention. I know we kind of moved over that, but this trade. Are you believing CJ Stroud? Is he the real deal now?
I mean, it's less about CJ and more like his rookie year. The big thing I like to see, like the overreaction to that game is not looking at the little details, right? It's how there's several different takes here. I'm not going to get into all of them, but when you're evaluating the Texans, don't box score chase. You need to watch the game and look at the minutia. Otherwise, I think you're going to get the wrong story, or you're just not going to know what you're talking about. The idea here is we liked him because of his yards per attempt and his yards per completion, his rookie season. He was just willing to throw the ball down the field. And, it didn't go perfect every time, but we liked that he would do it, right? He would put up big yards. And if anything, his touchdowns just didn't come. All he needed was more touchdown regression. He would be there. Now you're starting to see 2 touchdowns, 4 touchdowns the other day. You're starting to see that average up a little bit. What you don't like to see is a shorter ADOT, not getting down the field. When you got the rookie wide receivers in there, they are fast. They can get down the field faster. They actually have better separation metrics than what he was getting, still, right? Yeah. Now, Nico's fantastic, right? That is more of an O-line Stroud thing. But when you put all new pieces in there, Stroud, is Stroud the real deal? He's willing to throw it down the field, and I think he's good enough. He's not Drake May. He's not Herbert. He's not that level of talent, in my opinion. But is he Darnold level talent, where you see Darnold working with a JSN? That's really working, and you're seeing Darnold is very capable, and in a good situation, capable can be pretty lethal if you have the right tools, right? I think that's probably what you're going to see with CJ Stroud. And a good defense to put you in decent situations, combined with a pretty decent ADOT, and you've got a pretty good recipe for success there. So with the state of their running game too, I think the touchdowns should favor the passing game for the most part. So I'm more wheels up on Stroud than anything, but they were up against kind of a dream situation. The 49ers have no pass rush of any kind after losing Nick Bosa. So take that with a grain of salt. Their O-line is still a season away, in my opinion. He's nothing more than a streaming quarterback and a low-end streamer for me.
I am liking Woody Marks, though, man. That dude was getting the ball a lot in that game, and he was being very explosive with it. Hopefully they give him more touches as time goes on. I don't know if I even had him on the waiver wire pickup today, but I should definitely add him here as we're talking about it. But before we go too far here, sites to show you said May has done the most with the least this year when your biggest weapon is that busted Diggs. Then he's been doing this thing over there. It's just still Travion Henderson hasn't really got going yet, though. It seems like they still relying on Ramondre Stevenson a lot over there, just going back a little bit because of that. But we're still waiting on Travion Henderson there to kind of bust out. He did really early in the preseason, and then he kind of took a back seat. But that's how it is over there in New England. I don't like those New England running backs because of that. There's too much RBVC. Like literally every year, every day, you don't know who's going to get the most touches over there. It's just too volatile for me to trust them.
Ramondre's a good back. We never didn't like Ramondre because he was bad. We didn't like him because the fumbles and sometimes the situational football can be a little bit rough. We assumed Ramondre would get canned because of the fumbles. Because it's a New England thing. We always liked Ramondre for the most part. Yeah. So, Travion not looking good on his touches, though. That kind of sucks. This last game, finally, he'd ripped a big one, though. 75 yards off of he only had a couple of touches in the game. So I think better things to come there. But it's so cool that Drake May is doing what he's doing, and literally oh my God, Travion Henderson is literally not even on the field. It's just all Drake May. I'm so happy for that kid, man. But if Kyle Williams ever does anything, like, we're in trouble because New England's good and they're actually likable good. It's a problem. Kind of like
exactly. Let's see. The Eagles and Giants game. Basically, obviously, we're going to be talking about Cam Scatterboot's, season-ending dislocated ankle. I mean, that looked bad. I don't know if it's season-ending, yet to say, but that looked pretty bad to me. I don't, and Mike was mentioning some guy that supposedly just slipped his leg back into place and started playing again. I was like, I don't know who does. I don't know. I've never seen a player do that, but
I don't know what grades of other additional things he has in there, but just from what I saw, and again, this spoken from a true, like, I was pre-med once upon a time and also a nerd for this kind of stuff. The fashion in which he broke it tells me that there were still some pretty severely strained tendons, ligaments, that the foot just has so many tiny little bones and aspects to it that if all that gets really out of sorts, the healing is much more complex with that whole system than you think when you fully dislocate it to that degree. So I think it's pretty rough. If anything, like, it should be a shut it down and slow rehab. But the way the guy plays, like, be ready to go. He doesn't know how to take it half speed, right?
Yeah, he's 100. He's at 101 already, right? Getting out the gate here. So yeah, that's kind of our overreaction here, kind of for Monday night. Just getting into the injury news and notes here, but mostly injuries here on these guys. Again, we were just talking about Cam Scatterboot dislocated ankle. Quinshon Judkins, shoulder injury. He got ruled out during the game of Week 8. We're looking at Jerome Ford here coming up, so we'll be talking about him pretty soon. Saquon Barkley, groin injury. He's also day-to-day. It did not return during Week 8, so we might be looking at help me out here.
Waiver wire wonder, Tank Bigsby.
Tank Bigsby, yes, thank you. Alvin Kamara, also ankle injury, questionable Week 9, and the last week they had Kendra Miller go out for the season, so want to keep an eye on who might be up to bat over there. Bucky Irving still out with the foot injury, and Rachaad White continues to get the touches over there, and the Bucks. But we're waiting for Bucky Irving to come back for sure. Right receivers here, Luther Burden got a concussion here. He's out for Week 9. AJ Brown, hamstring injury. I'm not sure what happened to him, but Devontae Smith did do well in his absence. I think we just mentioned Nico Collins, concussion, was out. Christian Kirk, hamstring injury, also out. Garrett Wilson, knee injury, he's been out. Drake London, he had a hip injury, so he went out. He was the last-minute scratch as well, seemed like, right there for Drake London. So I'm not really sure how it's the extent that the hip injury is, but let's see how many, when he's able to come back on that. As far as quarterbacks, Lamar Jackson was out for the hamstring injury. Jaden Daniels, hamstring injury. He wasn't in play tonight. Brock Purdy, toe injury. You got Mac Jones starting over there. And then tight ends, you got Cole Kmet, a back injury. He's out. Dalton Kincaid, oblique injury. He was on the sidelines. He kept coming and going. I'm not sure what was going on with his obliques, but he's got some problems going on. And David Njoku, also knee injury, out. So it really helped Harold Fanning Jr. over there. So yeah, those are basically quick reads here on the injuries. Anybody else that stands out? Can't think of anybody else that's got some injury going on.
No, I mean, every veteran in the league is going to be questionable for the rest of the year. So it's the usual. It's even most of these injuries, I think, for the most part, are going to be they're not going to practice Wednesday. We'll take a look Thursday, and then we'll reevaluate Friday. So it just is what it is. I'm paying more attention to the type of injury and what I'm looking at. I'm looking at some more than others.
Yeah. So on that note, we got to pay some bills real quick. Right now it's the boost over. With Underdog Fantasy, it's the best place to play some pick'em contests where you simply pick higher and lower on player stats like total yards and touchdowns. So we usually use them during the off season here to do our best ball drafts there, where we just draft the players, set it and forget it. No long term commitment, no lineup setting, no waivers, no trades. So you just kind of draft the team, and it gives you a really good idea where the ADP is for the regular season. So currently they have a promo going for play 5, get 100. It's not just play 50. I haven't been able to get that corrected there. So, definitely go to underdog.com, download the app, use promo code GetRight, and you get some additional monies there from us, and it helps support the channel here. So yeah, visit Underdog Fantasy. That's where we're playing our stuff at. That's where I play at. I know that Phil and Kendall been doing their best ball drafts and pick'ems lately with them. So go check them out. Really quick on that. Let's get into top waiver wire ads. Why don't you give me your top 2 quarterbacks here? Just 2 quarterbacks. We'll rank them after we get through some of them there.
Quarterbacks. So top 2 for me right now, just based on who's available. So Joe Flacco is number 1 for me. I really do see him as like a quarterback 7-8 rest of season, right around that range. But there are names like Sam Darnold and others that kind of got pushed out. So Joe Flacco is my number 1 priority at quarterback. And then number 2 is going to be the name I just mentioned. If for some reason Sam Darnold, if he wasn't able to be hung on to through the bye week, I would pick him back up. He would be my 2.
Okay, he's taking my top 2 guys. So I'm going to go with Mac Jones here, San Francisco 49ers. While, Purdy's still out. He threw for 193 yards and 2 touchdowns, and he's been holding it down over there in San Francisco last couple of weeks. He's only 33% owned right now. And, basically till Brock Purdy's out, Mac Jones has just been toughing it through. I mean, that guy's getting beat up a couple times and just still gets back in the game. And then the next guy here, we got Jackson Dart here with the Giants. Good solid performance, 193 passing yards. Say that again?
Jackson Dart still on waivers?
Yeah, he's still on waivers. He's about 20% owned on some of these leagues. So
that has to be ESPN. That's got
he has to be ESPN on that one. Unfortunately, I didn't get all the other ones here. Yeah. Let me look them up.
I think sleeper. He's like 75% plus.
No, it's sleeper because they have so many. What do you call it? Dynasty leagues and things like that. His numbers are off over there. You know what I mean? Like, wow, I like to use sleeper, but sometimes they're like higher. They're usually higher than average, honestly. But he's right here on Yahoo, 63% owned, on the ESPN 69. So he's right on the threshold at 65% owned or less. So if he might be out there for you, he's just basically getting the work done on his feet. He's getting those extra rushing yards. Even though, he's lost his top wide receiver and just basically not really much there for him to throw at, he is getting those rushing yards, right? Anybody else? Do we got get another 2 you got on your list?
Well, I'd say Jackson Dart would have been my number 1 waiver last week and this week for sure. I would have dropped 100% fab last week too on him. But if you are in a league where he's still available, that is the easiest 10,000% of fab you've ever done. Just to round it off, last 2 that I would worth grabbing are, I still think Fields is worth grabbing. If you are grabbing a quarterback off the waiver wire, it means you need a quarterback. That's the only reason you're grabbing it. And if you're grabbing a quarterback, you might as well grab for upside. So the challenge is Justin Fields is going on bye, right? So this is only for situations where you need you could stash him. Maybe you're in a situation where you're I don't know. So something bad happened at quarterback. So I think he's worth a stash. His upside is significantly higher. So I would still take him if you can. If not, give me some Trevor Lawrence. If the offense ever gets going the way I think it will, he was quietly doing better last couple games. So I would take Trevor Lawrence over some of the other options if I really needed to. Obviously, we're in desperation territory at this point. You're probably packing it in. I don't know. I don't know if I'm spending too much fab past that.
Right. Well, one guy I've been liking here, Aaron Rodgers. He seems like to be rejuvenated here. Threw for 219 yards and 2 touchdowns against the Packers there. He faces the Colts in Week 9. Currently owned about 47% on Yahoo, 42% on ESPN. I don't have the sleeper number, but they're usually higher. And he's been throwing up some good numbers here. Another guy to look at here is Tua. I know that it's not the greatest, and we were just talking about the offense over there, but he did get for 20 for 26, 205 yards. and threw for 4 touchdowns, no interceptions on Sunday's upset win over the Falcons there. So, that's he's getting some numbers there. We really don't like Waddle that much, but he is putting it together. So let's take a look at him. Now let's rank them. Let's see where we go. Number one guy would be who? Sam Darnold or Joe Flacco, or are you just shooting down for Jackson Dart if he's still available?
I'm in, I think, about 30 leagues, and Jackson Dart is not available in any of them. I think that is that stat is broken. That there's no way that could be correct. I would spend every dollar of fab I had last weekend this week without question. I think every
I would. I know that my league he's still available, and he's just I like his rushing. I just don't. I just think I need more than just his rushing. You know what I mean?
No, I have right now with his weapons and how he's playing too. He looks better than Jaden Daniels, just like straight up. Like even if you watch the game, he's playing so much better than the box score showed. Like on paper, his box score wasn't actually amazing that game. He had some longer passes called back from penalty. He's just playing absolutely out of his mind. Plus the rushing ceiling. It's just this sick combination. We haven't seen a quarterback like him in a minute. Where he's an elite level athlete. He's everything we wanted Anthony Richardson to be. Essentially, he can rush just like and maybe a little bit less, but he's just consistently doing all the right things. So there are. I said Flacco, I think, is going to be a pretty high-end quarterback the rest of the season. I would still take Jackson Dart ahead of him, for sure.
All right, so he's taking Jackson Dart first, Joe Flacco second, I think, right?
Yes, yeah, Joe Flacco second.
And then we're definitely for sure locked in on Sam Darnold as third.
Yep.
He's coming off the bye week, so we take those guys. Those are the top 3 quarterback waiver wire ads. I'll go ahead and start with the running backs and shoot it back over to you. Obviously, we're talking about Tyrone Tracy here with the Cam Scatterboo injury. Tyrone Tracy did step in, 10 attempts, 39 yards, 0 touchdowns, 2 receptions for 14 yards. Only a 7.3 PPR game, but only 41.9% owned here. So he should be available in your leagues. He obviously we started off with him. He got injured. People dropped him. Cam Scatterboo stepped in, but now it's time to shine all over again. So we're definitely looking at Tyrone Tracy. And another guy, because of the other injury here, Judkins got injured. So we're looking at Dylan Sampson. Those are the 2 guys we have on thumbnail here. So, Dylan Sampson's the next man up. Only 3 attempts, 0 yards, 0 touchdowns, 5 receptions for 29 yards in this game. So hopefully now that he gets the full start here, Dylan Sampson, we did have him as an early waiver wire or look guy earlier in the season. I wasn't sure which guy was going to be getting it because Judkins was on that suspension here. So now he's back. Hopefully Dylan Sampson has an opportunity there. How do you feel about these 2 guys? So, think they're going to be, worth it? Is it going to be the waiver wire money we're going to spend on these guys?
Short answer is no. No, I don't think so at all. I think Tyrone Tracy couldn't actually hold on to even a timeshare. He went away. He was just completely gone. So I think this is an example of he still probably has to be the number 1 waiver priority. I think for me, this is significantly more of someone's going to overspend on him in a fab budget league. And I'm going to let that happen, right? I'm not going to put my number 1 priority with crazy fab for Tyrone just because I think he's going to split time with Singletary, to be honest with you. He's still my number 1. It's just not who I'm targeting, right?
I think we're bringing him up because I didn't even put him on my notes. I forgot to put Singletary there because I want to kind of give that same take, almost a similar take. I think they might split a lot more than you think, right?
There's just some backfields where I just don't really believe that much in the talent of Tyrone Tracy. We can get to some of these later on backs. I'm just going to say, look, there's a difference between I didn't draft particularly well. It didn't pan out well for me at running back. So I need a fill-in RB2 because I have to start a legal lineup. And I don't want to put 4 points in my lineup. I like to put 8 to 10 minimum, and I'd be happy with that, right? That's kind of what we're doing with a lot of these, right? I don't think a lot of these are crazy. There are some that I think are less sexy that actually have more upside. That's what I want to be going with, right? So to your answer, those 2 in particular, I like the talent of Dylan Sampson significantly better, but he's on a terrible offense and he's not quite as good as Judkins. So he needs he needs all those passes. He needs 5 catches to kind of be worth it. So I do like Sampson, but it would take Judkins down for the season. He would be a bye week fill-in. So I do like Dylan. I almost like Sampson almost more than Tracy in terms of upside, but Dylan Sampson's probably not. Judkins is probably fine, right? So I like Sampson as the talent. He's more of a stash for me, though. I don't think you can start him without Judkins being seriously injured. I don't think that's the case.
Nice. So give us your 2 guys here. And like Kendall has said, we will get you guys' questions, definitely. So keep them coming. I got them starred here for most of you guys. And I appreciate it, Nino. First time Kendall and I have been on here live, so we're having a great time here. Yeah, so give me two running backs on your side here.
Cool. All right, let's go with that. Let's go. Honestly, my favorite 2, just straight up. Even though they're not. Again, Tracy's my number 1 priority. You have to. Sometimes you got to buy wins, man. It is what it is. I lose games too. My number 2 priority, Tajay Spears, Tennessee Titans. Won me some leagues tail end of last year. Hopefully you as well. We had back-to-back 20-point games to end the fantasy playoffs last year. Was fantastic. Here's the thing. I thought his injury, it was supposed to be extremely bad for a fast twitch running back. He needs lateral agility, and his injury limits lateral agility, right? So I was like, oh, he's done. Even when he's back, I didn't think he was going to be good, straight up. And then he looked pretty good, and he still had the cuts, and he still had the juice, and he looked like he had more juice than Pollard sometimes, and he was a very effective change of pace back. So I like Tajay Spears because I think he is the 55% back the rest of season. I do think he ends up being the goal line back because of his versatility more often than not. And I think he's got a higher percentage chance to break some plays. So I actually like him as he's going to be startable with a healthy Pollard. He's just going to be plenty startable. And I think he's going to catch 4.5 passes a game and do well with them to the point where he's just going to get you 10 points. He's going to be at least what Eckler was last year. And I think he's got a little bit more upside. God forbid an injury happens. So that's Tajay Spears, a little bit quicker. My number 3, Isaiah Davis for the Jets. Really into Isaiah Davis. 1, he catches passes. So even Breece is awesome. Breece can't be on the field all the time, especially when he's not in the team. Get to that in a second. But even when Breece is there, Isaiah Davis can hit a home run, much like RJ Harvey did the other day. Only a few carries. Isaiah can take one pretty far. He is a fast twitch guy. In limited touches, you need the HN style guy, right? He is that. He's also good at catching passes, and the team already likes him. And I think the team's going to be without Breece Hall because the calls for Breece Hall, if they weren't happening, to your credit, I mean, he even threw a pass. There's all sorts of GMs that are like, yeah, I want that on my team. That's a little too good, and the price is a little too cheap. So with a gone Breece, I think Isaiah Davis could step into a literal like high-end RB2 workload rest of season on that team. So his rest of season upside is ridiculous. Give me Isaiah Davis as my 3rd RB option.
Nice. I like that. I also had Tajay Spears here, so we're right there thinking the same thing. I'll take Tank Bigsby, man. Just because Saquon did go down there with the groin injury, something's going on there at the end of the game, and Tank got traded over to this team, and we really haven't seen nothing from him. And he went for 9 attempts, 140 yards, no touchdowns, but I mean that's good enough for me. You know what I mean? That's good enough for me to, start rostering them ahead again. And as we go into the later part of the season, you want to start handcuffing some of your players in case they do go down with injury. God forbid that happens. We don't want anything to happen on these players. But I mean, if he starts getting some more looks over there with the Eagles and they start giving him some more touches just to even give a break to Barkley, this guy can produce for you. We've seen what he did over there when he was was it Carolina? I can't even think of the team.
Over for the Jags. He was giving ETN a real run for his money. Basically, planted him as the early down back.
I mean, that was you were starting that guy almost practically. So and the next guy here that I have is and I should have looked up the numbers for Woody Marks here, but I'll just go with Ollie Gordon, the Miami Dolphins there. And he's getting some touches over there behind Devon Achane, of course, but he went 10 attempts, 46 yards, 1 reception for 20 yards, and he did get a touchdown. Only about 10% owned there, and definitely a good handcuff again. I don't think he's anything more than a flex if you even try to start him, but more of like a handcuff situation type guy. But I do like the fact that he's getting some touches. Obviously, there was nobody there. And I forgot who they had that also went down earlier this year. You remember who that was?
Who I'm typing in
For
chat?
Miami Dolphins. I forgot who it was. It was another running back that
Jalen Wright?
Huh?
Jalen Wright from Tennessee.
Yeah, that's who it was. Jalen Wright that also had already gone down for them. So I'm glad to see the Ricky Kenton coming stepping up here. So there's possibilities there. But most of these two guys are more of a handcuff type of situation. I don't think they're going to be, starting, but nice pieces to have in case the top guy goes down. You're firing these two guys up for sure.
Yes, indeed. Yeah, I'm really in on your
Shipley.
Yeah, no, Shipley third string right now. I liked Shipley's profile. Quick twitch, good cut, decent in the pass catching. I just don't think his physicality translated to the NFL. I just don't think he's like an NFL running back. The trade told you that in and of itself. So I think the Eagles were saying, hey, so he's the same. Shipley's getting the Isaac Orendo treatment. The San Francisco 49ers said, hey, we're going to play some ball this year. When CMC, if and when, we need to still win that game. And we need two running backs that are good. So I think Shipley is he's one of the best RB3s, right? Which still sucks for fantasy football. In the NFL, it makes sense. It just means with their line, they need to still win a Super Bowl this year if you're that team. So Shipley's definitely the third string for sure. And I don't think it's particularly close.
And I missed Nino's comment here. If it wasn't that preseason injury, it would have been Spears' job completely.
Yeah. I mean, capped, right? Though, because Pollard, with the way that team is playing, right? You wouldn't want to use and abuse Spears when this is a lost season, and you'd rather have Spears better for next year, right? So it still would be like a 50-50 split, but we'd all know what Spears is, right? So is what it is. I wish Spears had one less injury on his record, given his knee arthritis history. But yeah, the fact that he looked that good after that injury tells me he's got some dog in him. I didn't think he did, to be honest with you.
Nice. That's good with these guys. Two more? Do you got any two more? Or?
Yeah. For running back,
yeah.
I'll just give the only one that's still relevant. I mean, I could list 10 more names, but if you spend fab on them, you're wasting your fab. So not do it. The one I think you didn't mention Bam Knight, did you?
No, but I do have him. But yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. Michael Carter, obviously getting dropped there. I think this is looking like it's going to be Bam's backfield just for a little bit. Benson comes back. I think they clearly have some. They think Bam's okay. I think this means that when Benson comes back, it's a timeshare between him and Benson. I like him. I just think super capped ceiling. This is the example of if you need to start somebody, he's a starter. So I do like him. I don't think he's going to be startable very much longer. And even when you do start him, I'm not playing him in DFS. That's where he's super cheap, right? And he should get 10 points, but I'm still not playing him. So that's why I have him ranked fairly low. But I do think he has a low ownership, probably lower than he should. So I'd take a look. But he's sixth in my priority list. I'm lower than the market. When you look at all the other websites, I'm lower on the market than he is.
Yeah. And on that note, we would definitely want to look at Trey Benson because it was a 4-week time window for him to be out. They're bye week here this week here coming up on week 8, and they're down and out. So and they're playing the Cowboys here coming out of this bye week, and obviously poor Cowboys just have no defense this year, and basically every team that's been playing them is just going gangbusters. So if this guy does play, it's either Bam Knight or Trey Benson, whoever's playing over there, would probably have a pretty decent game there against the Cowboys, unfortunately. So you want to fire those guys up if you have the opportunity, even just as a flex start guy. Like he said, you wouldn't trust him for the rest of the season and only one more game for Bam Knight. But if Trey Benson or him are available, you kind of want to fire him up against the Cowboys.
Yeah.
So let's rank them up. We just kind of went over some of these guys. Who's your number one here for running backs?
Sadly, it has to be the Giants. It has to be Tyrone Tracy.
It has to be, right?
It's close. He's the number one on my board because if he were free, it's still who I would take. Rest of season, I have to be honest, I'm higher on Tajay Spears. Screw it. I'm not. No, Tyrone's no longer my one. I just screw it. I'm done right there. I just don't buy it. He wasn't good enough. I was barely starting him when he had all the work. Let me be clear. So I just think the Giants might be good enough that he might have to be the one because he is a converted wide receiver and could catch enough passes, and they're injured and Neighbors is gone. So like he has to be. He has to be the one. I hate it though. He's the thinnest one I've seen in a while, and I'm not fab dumping for him, but he is my one.
Nice. I like how you changed it up here. I was going to agree with you. I was going to take Tajay Spears as number 2.
I'm close. I'm so close.
Unfortunately, I kind of have to stick with that Tyron Tracy take.
Titans offense is so bad. It's so bad. Yeah. The Giants at least have a better offense. So that's where my tiebreaker is. If everyone in the chat wants to know, running backs, sometimes you just tie break and go with the better offense. Sometimes that's just always the better play.
And we're getting to the wide receivers next. Don't worry, Tyler Sperry there. He's like, what's going on?
I got some thoughts there too.
We got some coming up next. Give us a second here. So yeah, I mean, I think Tyron Tracy, we're agreeing with Tajay Spears, probably tied for number 1 spot. We're getting Dylan Sampson, I guess the 3rd spot.
I have to put Dylan Sampson categorically 1 spot lower, but I do like him as like a tier. I have to put him below Isaiah Davis, and it's a big teardrop for me, only because like if Judkins is healthy and Breece is healthy, I can still play Isaiah Davis as my RB2, and I actually think I have a shot at something, where Dylan Sampson is like not playable. Dylan Sampson for me is a better version. No, he's not. Dylan Sampson is like a worse version of Tank Bigsby, but I think the injury is a little more severe. I think Dylan Sampson is a little bit of a trap because Judkins has to be fully done, and I don't think that's the case. So that's why Dylan Sampson is down a few tiers for me. You can't play him.
And I agree with you there too. If Judkins was fully out, then you could be able to see and trust Dylan Sampson at this point.
Like Tank's a handcuff too, right? But he might get the whole 4th quarter when the Eagles are blowing someone off, where the Browns are never going to be a more than 1 score lead this entire season.
And shout out just really quick to Samaje Perine. The Bengals there rushed for 94 yards and the touchdown on 9 carries. Came out of nowhere there. Just an assist to Chase Brown. I'm glad that the Cincinnati Bengals are actually putting something together there with Joe Flacco at the helm. So good to see that. Now, hey, here we go. Moving on to the wide receivers there, Tyler. Long waited for you. And he was like, what's going on with the wide receivers, right? Let's see. Let me give you top 2 here that I have here. Troy Franklin, Denver Broncos, 35% owned here, almost 36%, 6 reception, 89 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Franklin was on the waiver wire before, I think week 3 or 4. I can't remember. Now he's back again. He's been rostered and just, spot starting him here as a flex. I think going forward, he'd probably a WR3 and a flex start. Just to feel comfortable. I'm not going to move up to WR2 status. And Shamari Dyke, is that how you say his name?
Honestly, I've got to look it up because I know what people are saying. I've heard Kamir and I've heard Chimere. I think I keep accidentally saying like Chimere, but I don't think that's not correct. I think it's DK though. I think it's Kamir DK.
Kamir DK. Titans wide receiver there, only 8% owned. The guy went for 7 for 93 yards. I think you like him as well. I do like he's him. Coming around, so
he's your 2.
Those are just 2 right now. I'm not ranking yet, but yeah, it's 2 to give out.
2 all right, trying him. Cool. All right, I'm gonna go with 2 that aren't obvious. I'm gonna go with Christian Watson, huge. 84 yards and 4 catches. Also, didn't play on like 30% of snaps. Played on a lot more. He was in like 65% of snaps. He was in like a lot of the game. The dude's good. He's talented. The team paid him. They know he's going to be good. He was only out for an extended period. I think they were doing almost like the Christian McCaffrey. Like, dude, get this guy healthy. He's stupid.
Yeah. That's good. Like, don't rush him back, right?
And because he's been injured so long, we don't have to pay him a lot of money. We can do the Green Bay thing, and we can kind of we won't have to pay him a big contract because he's injury prone. So he's good. Jacobs got shut down a little bit. The run game, when it gets stopped, Jordan Love has a cannon, right? Christian Watson is kind of the deep threat because like Golden, I don't know. He's still learning how to play in the NFL a little bit. That's Christian Watson ate Golden's lunch this game. That was the big takeaway. You want to overreact. Christian Watson on like half of a healthy body just destroyed Golden. That's huge. In a game that matters, the guy that we weren't sure if he was going to play, just came in and said, hey, the guy you drafted in the first round, day one, I'm going to destroy him. And also like Dobbs, you're cute. So yeah, Christian Watson, big deal. One of the bigger ceilings rest of season, probably one of the biggest single game ceilings you can have if they have a tough matchup. So Christian Watson's on my board, and he has a high ownership percentage, but this is someone to watch if they are dropped. If they're on the waivers, pick them up anyway, Darnell Mooney. But Mooney might have been picked up and dropped after his pretty bad performance. If people aren't paying attention, that Penix wasn't in the game. So with Penix back next week, I think the overall offense will function better. Mooney, a sneaky ad if he's still available. Some people just didn't pick him up and are choosing still not to. And he could get dropped. If he's not available, wait till Wednesday. He'll get dropped.
Yeah, I like Mooney as well. Let's see. Let's give you guys a couple more here. Kayshon Boutte, New England Patriots, 40% owned, 3 for 37 and a touchdown. He's coming into the zone over there at New England. Drake May seems to like him quite a bit here. So I want to be taking a look at him. And who was it? The other guy here, Jaden Higgins here with the Houston Texans. I'm not too fan of the team there, but he only went 4 for 31. But he's getting a lot more target share, only 25% owned over there. Just a couple more guys here to add into there. Yeah. Anybody else special you got? I know I've seen your list. You got a good number of wide receivers there.
Okay, I'll rapid fire. Malik Washington is on there, but he's a trap. I'm not doing it. I'm not investing. He was barely startable. Like he caught the touchdown and everything. He was good when Tua had the best game maybe of his life. When Tua does half of that, cut Malik's production in half, cut his touchdown in half, or make it 0, and he's not a thing, so he's off my board. Jalen Noel I like, but he is the one that Christian Kirk will get back healthy. I don't think Noel in that game had like a 30% snap share where Higgins was up in the 70s. It's pretty clear that Jalen Noel's been very productive, but if his snap share doesn't get up there, it looks like Higgins is going to eat his lunch on availability. So I can't get to Jalen Noel over guys like Downs or Mooney. I don't know. I think those are all the main guys. I think we're missing Malik and Jalen, and I like them, don't love them. Josh Downs, honorable mention, throw him in there. I like him.
Yeah, just throw him in there. Honorable mention. So who are we ranking here for these wide receivers? Who's your top guy here?
Troy Franklin's too chalk. The team is well coached. The big thing for me, the big take with Troy Franklin is I didn't see a world in which Troy Franklin was legitimately going to test for the 1A, 1B with Sutton, but he's simply athletic enough and the team's in weird enough game scripts where Sutton's just too traditional, but he's not good enough at what he does. And Franklin can kind of do it all. So the fact that Franklin is like not just the 2, but clearly the 2, sometimes almost the 1, puts him in a separate tier on a good team that puts up points. And that team just lost Pat Surtain for 4 weeks. Their defense is vulnerable now. They're gonna have to score more. So yeah, a hidden reason why he is easily the 101 for me in terms of like the overall board.
And then we're going Kamari Dyke here as a number 2, I believe.
You're going 2 for him. That's spicy, but I like it.
You got to get with the guys. If they're getting the numbers, they're getting the looks and the touches. That speaks volumes. Sometimes that's just basically what you need on the team is just to get the targets, and that puts you ahead of the rest of the guys here. And then who are we going? Kayshon Boutte, number 3.
I'm gonna be honest. You probably should put him 3. I am lower on market than him. I am completely on the train of like that is so Drake May and not Kayshon Boutte. It's just Drake May. I still think that at the end of the day, it's always going to get spread around. It's like buying in on Booty is like spending too much on Dobbs. Or when Wicks was a thing for a week. I just think that in a week or 2, you'll be like, well, it came back. it's just going to be volatile. I just don't know when you're ever going to know when to play him. I don't see him as an emerging talent. I see when Booty plays good, it's because Drake May found the open guy and it was you. So again, there's a lot of smart people out there that are thinking Booty's really a thing. I'm going to die on this hill. I'm going to go contrarian. He's still on my board, but I'm putting him below Kamara Deke and I'm putting him below Christian Watson. He's my 4.
Yeah. So he's still number 3 though overall. So, and just throw this one out here, sites to show you. It says, what are some cheap dynasty wide receivers that could blow up to be a wide receiver 1 in 2026?
That's like a full episode there, my man. Oh my goodness, that's such a good call.
I teed it up for you and Phil because Kendall and Phil do a lot of dynasty talks on their show.
Oh my goodness,
this is more redraft, obviously, and just week to week here that we got going on. But just a food for thought. If you got any two guys, give them 2 guys. You should be looking at
cheap dynasty wide receivers. How cheap are we talking here? That's my only question. Like, how cheap? I'm asking this because is this like 3rd, 4th super dart throws, or are we getting up into the 2nd rounders? I kind of want to know how cheap. I'm going to go on the super cheap because there aren't anybody that's super cheap that's going to be a wide receiver 1 in 2026. It's not a thing. It's not going to happen. There isn't a super ridiculous hidden gem, but I can give you some that could be like wide receiver 2s, maybe. I'm literally going to pull up some of my favorite dynasty teams, and it's just going to tell you everything you need to know. This is
so while he's doing that, sites, if you could just post up, are you 10-team, 12-team, PPR, half PPR? Give us a little bit of background on what you got going on for your dynasty. It always helps to phrase your questions that way. So if we know what how many teams you're playing with, what your scoring setup is, and things like that. And Ice Cold Jones, I see your question here, and there's a couple extra questions out here that we've had have started. I know that Kendall responded to you here for the RJ Harvey question, but we're going to get to all of them here in the Q&A section. We only got tight ends to go after here. So as I buy some time here for Kendall, let's see what he's coming up with.
All right. So just to throw it out there, generally wide receiver, you're asking me for like a stupid blowups. I have to find like unreal upside, which is incredibly difficult. But if a trade or an injury or both were to happen, I do think the combination of Josh Downs and or Alec Pierce is very worth taking a cheap shot on. Pittman gets injured and he's killing it, but there's just so many worlds in which the team stays good, but a piece gets changed out. Josh Downs, I think, is still going to be way in the up and up. If I had to say one, it's on recent form. Josh Downs he's here, but in 1 year's time, he could be pretty ridiculous. I think it's Josh Downs right now. Tez Johnson for the for Tampa Bay. I really like Tez. He's got a crazy story. Look into his backstory. Sites, you're going to see he's actually kind of got a dope, like he's got dog in him. He had an okay week, not a big week. I think long term he could be better than Jalen McMillan on that team for basically the 2-in-2 wide receiver sets with Igbuka post Godwin Evans. So I think those are some names that are pretty big deal. If you want to go 2 more, just because we've talked about them, Kamara Deke right now, everyone's all Elik Iominor. I think Kamara Deke could be Tyler Lockett-esque. I'm really liking him quite a bit, to be honest. He's doing some things for me. So outside of that, I think those are probably everyone else is going to cost you a second at a minimum. I could go into other stuff, but like those are like you can still get them for a third, and you could paint the town with them. So there you go.
Perfect. Getting some sweet dynasty advice here on the waiver Monday overreaction waiver wire trade show here. So, so he's saying he's a 2nd or 3rd pick.
Xavier Worthy.
So yeah, there you go.
Oh my goodness, massive buy low. They want to throw the ball deep, and he's going to get some jet sweeps. He's a better version of Jameson Williams and an objectively better offense when everyone's healthy. My goodness, if I can get Xavier Worthy for a second, I don't know the format.
Pick worthy. He's saying 3rd or 4th round, 2nd or 3rd round pick worthy, like as in worthy of those type of picks when he trades for them, for the dynasty guys. I don't think he's talking Worthy as like the Xavier Worthy as like the receiver.
Are any of these guys? He's answering the question. It's basically worth a second or third. If we can get up into a second, there are some other names right now. But if you're in sharp leagues, any league I'm in, no one is going to give you that deal, right? So it's going to take a little massaging. But I
did like the Josh Downs, Kamari Dike,
like Josh Downs is going to cost you a second, right? I said Josh Downs because there's no way you're getting him for a third. Like someone is suicidal to give you Josh Downs for a third. I bought Josh Downs for a late first in some leagues, and I still feel good about it. That should tell you something about it. Package that second and the third. Go get Jameson Williams. My God, go get Jameson Williams. Go get him and Xavier Worthy. Go get one or the other or both because those guys are super underrated. After this past week, you should probably go get Matthew Golden because he'll be dirt cheap if people will allow it to happen. If you want super stupid cheap, honestly, Jacoby Myers before he gets traded, he's going to go somewhere. And if Jacoby Myers goes to the Bills or something, like Jesus, like Jacoby's good at football. He could go some places. So Jacoby's actually kind of low key nice.
On the Raiders, just that's a poor guy.
Yeah, those are some other names.
Let's finish off here though. Let's move it on to
you got me in dynasty mode, man. You have to physically cut me off because I will talk dynasty. By the way, chat, if you guys aren't in the Discord, seriously, get in the Discord. I live there. Anybody else you're at that gives you like a sentence or two, ask anyone who's in the Discord. I write full-fledged novels on paperback. I mean, I will give you 5 paragraphs per question.
Both
and
him and Phil.
for it. We're going to start charging at some point, but for now it's free. So get in there.
Get in there while you can. Get in there while it's still cheap. Free. So let's round out the tight ends here. Let's take a look here. I got to go back up to my list. I did have a guy here last week in Harold Fanning Jr. Still coming up this week. Harold Fanning Jr. caught 6 of 8 for 62 yards and a touchdown. David Njoku still injured, so I really like him. And I went ahead and picked up Mason Taylor from the Jets here this week, and I started him. I needed a tight end. Unfortunately, I was in a gay team league and just in a tough spot. And I said, okay, let's see what this guy got. He's had some upcoming pretty good looks recently. So he went for 5 for 34 and a touchdown there, thrown by Breece Hall there. So it was nice to take a look at that. 29% owned on those two guys. Harold Fanning is only still 17% owned. That guy's killing it over there for Cleveland Browns. Definitely take a look at him. I don't see why they would go back to David Njoku, but Njoku did have some good numbers last year, so check it out. He did put up the Discord here, so check it out. Join us on Discord here. Here's the link. It's also in the description. So please join us there. We used to do it on the Sleeper, but most of the stuff has been moved over to Discord now. It's just a better platform for everybody to discuss everything, and it's all the time. What do you got? You got 2 tight ends here for us?
Yeah, there's only 4 names, and anyone else that's mentioned is just don't do it. I'll be the first. There are names that shouldn't be on waivers. It's so fine. Those names are they should have already been picked up, but that's shame on you for not knowing. Fannin should be owned in 100% of leagues. If he's still available, publicly shame your teammates. He should be owned everywhere. It's ridiculous that he wasn't picked up game time decision, which was crazy. Fannin's ridiculous. I scouted him. I watched hours of tape on him. I still don't understand his college tape because he's way too productive for a guy that I didn't actually think was amazing on film, but he just was too productive in college for me to not draft him everywhere. So Fannin's the easy answer there. He's awesome. Taylor is the easy answer for 2. And I any tight end that's going to be the second overall pass catcher, the second read for a team, that's fantastic. But the only other 2 mentioning are Colston Loveland and Juwan Johnson. Colston Loveland, 10th overall draft pick, an offense that should be a little punchier. It's been run heavy lately. It goes back to the pass. Colston should be good. Temper expectations. And Juwan Johnson, he's just good for 7-8 targets a game. He's going to have some down games. Brock Bowers sucks this year, so tight ends have down games. I mean, deal with it, right? But when it's a decent game script, Juwan Johnson's pretty good. I think these are the only guys that are really worth considering. Colston's
not
more
worried about Waller over there?
No, not at all. I mean, he's on IR. He's not going to be there for a while. You want to pick him up and stash him, fine. But there's better stashes, so he's like a free stash if you want to. But I also don't know how Waller's available. He should have been owned and then stashed in IR for sure.
I don't even know how the guy is even a thing. How he even came back to be a thing after being out of the league for 2 years. Next, he's like doing some things over there. I don't know.
Receiving tight ends, more of a mental game. It's more understanding the game and making decisions. Waller's not on the field to block for the most part, right? You won't see too many times where Achane needed Waller to block for him. He's really there purely as a pass catcher. I think it's more that he's relatively cerebral. But yeah, Waller's super low floor.
Nice. All right, so those are our guys. I mean, we're pretty much don't have to rank these guys that we were agreeing here with. Harold Fanning, number 1, Mason Taylor 2, and you could go Coastal level with Jawan Johnson.
I would put real fat. Fannin is a fab dump. Taylor, I think, is actually worth it. Loveland and Johnson, I would not go crazy. I mean, tiny fab. This is less than 10% fab.
Yeah, you just kind of put them out there. All right, so let's go back to the Q&A here. I have you guys start here. Thank you for waiting out here with us here. So let's get to your questions here. Ice Cold Jones 498 says, I have $80 of fab left. How much do I put on Tracy? So it sounds like he needs a running back.
He has all the fab. So if he wants Tracy, he gets him. Ice Cold, what's your running back room? If you're still here, I want to give you a real answer. And I know everyone. I hate that the lazy shows have to answer questions lazily, but I want to know your running back room. I want to know what you're dealing with. I want to know what your RB3 is to give you a real answer, because that's really going to tell. I think this is a poor waiver wire. I think I would rather save my $80 for a full fab dump for a full actual injury. Bijan's down, someone's down, right?
Somebody that's going to give you more production than these guys.
More than Tracy. I mean, it's almost as much as you can ask for, but I still think it's split. I'm probably doing 30 to 32 on him. You decide if you absolutely want him, put 45 on him. Like, you buy him for the year. Scadaboo's out for the year, so he is the guy. The big question here is, do you need real upside because you're stable, right? And you're getting someone in over someone you already have. You need to start someone over Tony Pollard, right? Tony Pollard's good. He's not doing much. In that case, I think you got to shoot for the moon a little bit. But if you need someone to play, that's where if he's immediately getting into your flex because your team's kind of messed up, in that case, you have to go get him. So go research the rest of your league. Who is going to go crazy? Who's going to fab dump for him? The reason that's more important than usual is if someone has 70 fab, dude, they might dump for him. I don't think he's worth just pulling the trigger on 80. Throw 56, 57 if he's the best play. If you don't need to, personally, I'm going to put about 32. Leave yourself a fab dump left. That's my personal take, though. This is a very roster dependent thing and a league dependent thing.
And on that note, please do put up what your league is, right? 10, 12, 8, whatever PPR standard scoring, half PPR, as you put in your questions, helps. And we do like to give you concise answers. So if you're on still on here, Ice Cold Jones, tell us who your running back room is. What's it look like? What's the situation going on, so we could give you a little bit better answer on that. Moving on though to Michael Regine. He's got, says, hi, a full PPR, 2 wide receiver, 1 flex. I'm heavy on running backs. I have Kyron Williams, Chase Brown, Dowdle, and Pacheco, and Corum, Woody, and Algiers. So yeah, he's heavy on runners. I have a number 1 waiver priority. Should I get Tracy? No.
Well, I'm going to challenge you there. Look at the rest of your league. If there are people, you need to look at 2 to 3 things here, okay? Look ahead. Who in your league has the worst running back situation this upcoming week at running back, right? How desperate are they going to be? Try to identify a piece that you would flip you would flip him for, right? So would you fab dump Tracy, use your number one priority to then play defense to get him to then flip him? There's many cases where there is a tiny upgrade that you could make if you flip him and you know the guy's going to flip, because there's outside of Tracy, there's not too many like startable, like immediately great RBs on the waiver. I think more often than not, you're going to say yes because you're going to buy him to trade him.
Yeah.
So that's why I say I don't say yes to play him. I say you got to trade him.
Yes, to trade
and
him.
He's more tradable than most of what's on your team, right? I think you've got Kyron, Williams, Brown, Dowdle, Woody. I think you should have already traded a running back by now, but yeah, take Tracy out the market. If anyone gets injured, everyone has to come crawling to you for running back. So you should definitely look to buy him, but then flip to upgrade something soon.
I'm in that position right now. One of our leagues, I have a lot of running backs stacked, and people are like, well, how can we have all these? Can't start them all. I was like, well, I'm just waiting for you guys to need them. And I'm putting trade offers out there. And Anthony does that all the time. He used to just pick up guys from the waiver wire and throw them out there for people to, trade offers. And you do send them to the guys that are needy. They have running backs that go down and don't have a better running back room anyway. So, if you could get some low end tight ends or wide receivers for yourself, they help you out. And or maybe even high end ones. If you said 2-for-1 deals, because you do have plenty of running backs to send out there, you could upgrade your running wide receiver room or tight end room so pretty quickly.
Yeah, I think you can go buy low.
Still be fine.
Can I get Tracy and flip him for Jameson Williams? Like, can I do something like that? Like, I would try. So that's why I'd go for him. I think running back is going to be the one where their production can be low, but there's still high trade value, as weird as that sounds. So you should still use your number one priority on them and then sell them. But do your homework.
And we got Tyler Sperry coming in here. Who's the best wide receiver to grab? I don't trust Devonta Smith without the AJ. He's stuck.
You should trust Devonta Smith. You absolutely should. The underlying metrics buying Jalen Hurts look very good this year. His target share and his adjusted target share are extremely good. When you look at advanced metrics, Devonta Smith's insane. If you don't trust him, you can't handle volatility. I'm telling you right now, Devonta, as someone who owns Devonta Smith and has traded Devonta Smith, and also as someone, I'm hypercritical of Jalen Hurts. I pay attention to the Eagles because I think they're a major betting market that you should pay attention to. Like, the public puts a lot of money on the Eagles. And so when I think the public is stupid, you get to make a lot of money from them being stupid. I'm just telling you, from every metric I can tell you, whatever your confidence level in Devonta Smith is, you should up it tremendously. It's the best advice I can give you. And over the course of the next 2 years, it's going to be right more often than not.
Who's the best wide receiver you should grab, though?
I mean,
if he's looking to grab somebody, and not say he's going to drop Devonta Smith, you definitely shouldn't drop Devonta
Even
Smith.
if you pick up our favorite, which is Troy Franklin, you should start Devonta Smith over Troy Franklin rest of season without question.
Yeah.
But
that kind of goes to your answer right there, because if you could just go pick up this waiver wire guy, who's our tape waiver wire guy for this week, you're still way more confident with Devonta Smith.
I mean, let me put it this way: the big thing is, so the best guys I can offer you in the waiver wire are going to be Troy Franklin. If I want full ceiling plays, it's going to be Franklin, Jaden Higgins, and Christian Watson, and Kamir Deke, right? There's different levels of risk with each of them, but it's got to be one of those four. Kamir Deke, he has to be super good in a bad offense. So you want Kamir Deke, super good in a bad offense, versus Devonta Smith, sometimes a great offense. Take the great offense volatility. Christian Watson has a legitimate upside. Some games, Love doesn't throw for 200 yards every game, so he's extremely volatile. But if you want max upside, Franklin's just going to be like the 1B rest of season. So I would go Troy Franklin for sure. There's going to be some games I could see Troy Franklin over Devonta Smith. That's the only one that's close.
There we go. Let's see. Nino Pena coming in. What's up, Nino? You guys think Cardinals letting Michael Carter go is more of a Benson return thing, or just confident in Bam and Mari for the time being? I think it's more because of Benson's going to become returning, but I don't think they like Michael Carter.
I think I think it's more of a starting running back roster space thing. Probably, if it's anything, it's teams only start a certain amount of running backs. Carter was pulled up from the practice squad. That's the best explanation I can give you is Benson is coming back, and it is going to be Bam and Benson, and Amari DiMercato is a better tangible asset on the roster versus Michael Carter. So it's politics plus. It doesn't really matter all that much. So I think if you don't read into it from a talent perspective, don't read into it anything other than all. Like Michael Carter was brought on the team because he was from the practice squad. So they've got to move around irrelevant pieces. I don't think it changes too much. Yeah. Amari and Michael Carter are never going to matter. Right back on it's Bam and Benson forever. And honestly, this team's going to draft another running back too.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. They're going to get another one. I think we already answered this question, but just want to bring it up here for others that are watching. Ella and David here. This is RJ Harvey was dropped in my league last week. Do I put a claim in for him or Tracy? And we're definitely both agreeing with RJ Harvey first over Tracy.
Yeah, super. If RJ Harvey was on the waivers, he's the first overall claim, and I would put 100% fab on him.
Yeah, so take a look at that. So that's your answer for that. Ice Cold Jones here, $4.98 again. I have $80 fab. Not much left to put on Tracy in dollars. I think we already answered that question.
Yeah,
right?
We did that one. Yeah.
Good evening. So, do you guys prefer Tet or Travis H rest of season PPR?
Rest of season PPR. Tet for sure. I don't love Bryce, and again, I'm a Travis Hunter guy. I'm the Travis Hunter nut. I am higher on Travis Hunter than I think. Why do I find myself in these positions where I get super polarized on certain people? But I'm gonna find what the ship chasers guys. If you guys like DFS and you watch, get on some ship chasers, some free promos for those guys. They're also Travis Hunter nuts, but they also win a lot of money doing DFS. I love those guys. Tet, because he's going to average more targets in an offense that no matter what, it's going to funnel the targets to him. They're both very similar talents. Just one has a slightly better role in their offense as the red zone, as the 10 target a game situation, where Travis doesn't always have to be the guy. BTJ is, I think, in my opinion, a more talented player. He plays a different role. Like, they should both coexist in the same team very well because they play very different positions. I like Hunter, but my goodness, I think that team has other ways to win where I don't really... The running game, if the running game doesn't work for the Panthers, what do they have, right? And I'm not a Xavier Legette guy, so give me Tet. It's close, but it is Tet.
Yeah, I agree with you. I keep it simple.
Now, Dynasty outlook. Give me Travis.
Michael Relio here.
Dynasty, maybe.
All right, 85, 87. I have a Jacobs, Vidal, Chuba, Woody Marks, and Tootin. Should I drop Tootin for Tracy?
Yes.
Facial Tootin should be droppable for Tracy. Yeah, no problem. And he's a 12-team PPR on that. So, yeah, with that note, I think that's it. We've caught up to – hold on. We got one more coming in here late. Luke – I don't know how to say your last name there, so just leave it at that. Luke
Noriega.
Would you trade Rome, Swift, and Nix for Josh Allen and Junkins? I have CD, JSN, and Ladd. And wide receivers and Henry, Kanan, and Dowdle, Spears at running back.
Yes.
So he's looking to trade.
But because this looks like a 10-team league, either that or you drafted nuts. You don't need Rome. Rome's a flex play for you because Rome and Ladd close. I have Rome over Ladd or ROS, but it's close. But Judkins over Swift plus Allen over Nix is huge. And you're selling high on Nix. I'm a big sell high on Nix. I would do this deal for sure. Yeah. Yeah.
So he's getting Josh Allen and Judkins. So
yeah, I want Allen. I want Judkins because I'm seeing your roster. I'm saying CD, JSN, Ladd. You can sell Rome, right? Because you're 3 wide receiver, 2 flex. I'm hoping. So you're playing CD, JSN, Ladd. I would play Rome over Ladd, but in this case, they're basically tied.
Yeah, they're the same dude, really.
And then you've got Henry, and you can't start K9. You need you really, yeah. This is huge. Judkins is a massive upgrade over Swift right now. Kyle Monangai has been averaging about a 45% snap share over the past 3-4 weeks blended. It's huge snaps. Swift has just been efficient over the last couple of weeks, but it doesn't have to last, and they can spread out a little bit. That's such a huge upgrade in PPG rest of season. And by week 17, when depth doesn't matter, this upgrades your starting points per game at a big deal at quarterback. Josh Allen by week 17 over Knicks is huge. That could be 10 points per game difference. That could be 20 versus 30 in the finals, and you're not making that up another position.
Yeah, and I agree with you because I don't see Swift holding that up. I have Swift, and I've been looking at Kyle Monangai because I have him as basically a keeper in a different league, and I've just been waiting for Monangai to kind of take over there for Chicago. Moving on Rome, because you do have the good wide receivers core that you do have, you can move on him. So you're going to upgrade next for Josh Allen. I like it. Judkins should be back. He's not going to be out that long.
Yeah, let me clarify. The Knicks upgrade to Josh Allen is the biggest part of that deal.
Oh, yeah.
I love Rome. I do not want to trade Rome. He's even undervalued even in that deal. But you're getting your weakest at running back. Kenneth Walker's barely startable. You need running back. This gives you punch at running back in a major way and damn near 10 points per game in some weeks at quarterback. The Rome part hurts me deeply, but the rest of it's just too good. It's just too good.
And once they could actually give
you're
the
fragile
ball
now,
Dowdle,
you're fragile,
it would be a lot better for you, But now, what's his back there? They were sharing carries with Dowdle and kind of putting them down. So, you kind of keep him on the back burner. He's still a flex option, but it's tough. All right, we're going to call the last one here. Go ahead, read it out.
Yeah, Montequilla 1620. How we doing, Montequilla? Stop being over here, my friend. Should I trade Olave, Chase Brown, and Omari and Hampton for CD and Breece Hall? I already have Puka, Egbuka, and Garrett Wilson, but I have Warren and Etienne as my running backs. So super loaded at wide receiver. Puka is going to be healthy, fresh from the bye week. Egbuka already healthy. Garrett Wilson will be healthy after the bye for sure. So he's fine rest of season, and you have 2 wide receivers to start. So the idea here is you're chalk, super chalk at wide receiver. But Etienne and Warren, I mean, it felt good earlier in the season. It's starting to look just okay, right? Should we trade our Olave, Chase Brown, and Hampton for CD and Breece? Montequilla, big question here. 3 wide receivers or 2? I need to know, are we doing how many flex, how many wide receivers? This being 2 wide receiver, 1 flex, like old school ESPN, is way different than 3 wide receiver, 2 flex. I needed to go for going for depth or starting PPG. Yeah. I can't give you an answer until I know, though, because I will be risking giving you the wrong
just
answer.
On the sheer players, I'd rather have CD and Breece, especially if Breece gets traded to a different team. You're looking at him blowing up. CD's already getting all those. He did answer 2 wide receivers, 2 flex.
Yeah,
I just think you're upgrading, right? Because you're moving on from Olave, Chase Brown, who basically you're selling high on, and Hampton, who's still injured, just to pick up CD and Breece. I like it.
Well, Chase Brown is a massive upgrade over Etienne and Warren, but you're getting Breece. So Chase Brown versus Breece. Chase Brown and Breece are extremely close. You're giving Olave and Hampton to get CD at that point. By the way, Hampton's injury is worse than you think. From all the studying that I've done, Hampton's injury is worse than we think, and Vidal's doing too good. So Hampton is massively lower for the rest of season projections because when he comes back, I think it's kind of a timeshare and he has to win it back. So if Hampton's lower, it's 2-2. So strengthening RB is pretty key. Hampton's just a whatever, so it's a loving Chase Brown versus CD and Breece. Ooh, we're going to think about this more. I still think I do it. Look, I think CD Lamb is pretty elite rest of season, and Olave is probably going to start bleeding worse. Breece, I love Chase Brown, but if Breece gets traded to a good situation, like it's league winning, like I think it's riskier. Here's where I'm at, Frank. It's risky to do the deal, but the way that fantasy is structured, it's top heavy. That is a play that gives you a better shot at first, but also a bigger shot to lose your league. I'm taking the better shot at first place. I think the end of the day, starting PPG, the week 17 in 2-2 is worth it. If it were 3-2, the Olave hurts worse.
Oh yeah, that would be a little bit
different. 2-2, yeah, Montequilla, I'm doing it. I'm doing it because I'm taking a heavy bet on Breece. Take a deep breath, Montequilla. If Breece isn't traded, I don't like the deal. I don't think Breece on the Jets rest of season. I think Chase Brown's going to be so much better than Breece if Breece stays in the Jets. So I need you to know that going in. I think Breece is getting traded. But if you're not as spicy as me, then just know, like, you're betting this trade only works if Breece gets traded. So do a little bit of your own homework, but if you want to hedge that Breece maybe stays, then I wouldn't. So it's best offer I can give you there. Thanks, Ben.
I appreciate it, man.
I'm in on Breece, though, so you want to live and die together, man. I want to overreact.
On a nice flour tortilla for you there.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Well, we'll call it a night here. We're a little over an hour and a half going in here almost. We appreciate you guys all coming out here with us. You know, as I mentioned earlier, we have our Monday shows here we got going on. Tuesdays, we got Phil with the Extra Point. Kendall joins him as well. We have Wednesday, the roster management buy sell trade show. Fridays, we got the sit start Q&A. And then Sundays, we got the active inactives with Mike here. So come join us here at Get Right Fantasy Network. You know, our affiliates here and the links, as well as the Fantasy Football Tavern, and here with Kendall right now, and then Phil with the Extra Point. The Fantasy Boardroom is no longer here right now for further notice, but we'll see when he comes back. I got to get Mike to update. I keep saying that every day. So I got to remember to tell Mike that. But on that note, appreciate you guys being here with us. You know, follow us on the Discord channel. As he mentions here, you know, check out the links in the description as well. Appreciate you. Thank you for coming on here, Kendall. Thank you. It was a good night. Appreciate that, man. On that note, just saying peace out, man. Thank you for coming out.
Anytime.
Wanted to write fantasy is the play. Marking nothing but I tune every Friday. Strategies provide.